Okay, Xavier, this is Brantley with Atlet. I just want to do a quick breakdown of you. There's a couple easy glaring things that are going to help you with your momentum going down the mound. They're going to contribute to you throwing a little bit later and getting more whip out of the arm. So I'm gonna point these out. Once I do this frame by frame, it's actually easy to see this in real time. So I'm gonna play the video back in real time so you can see the hesitation once you drive with your back leg down the mound. You do sort of a sit down and then a hesitation at the bottom of your sit, and then you start to drive yourself towards the plate. So that little hitch is going to become noticeable to you now that I point this out. When you lift your leg, first thing that stands out, any points of tension is something we want to get rid of. And anything that causes us to lose leverage at the top of the mound is something we want to get rid of, especially the taller we are. So when you're lifting your leg here and you see flexion in your back knee right here. So as you're lifting, you see how you're kind of sitting down in this leg, and then you're bringing that front leg up pretty high, and you're kind of caving over to that front knee. So watch your upper body kind of shift over to that front knee. It's like you're crunching a little bit, and your hands are up kind of right around your face. So this position here is going to be a sacrifice of potential energy that you should otherwise keep at the top of the mound. The whole point of you being on a mound is for you to get as tall as possible, get your maximum potential energy, use that leverage, and then create kinetic energy down the mound. So what I'd do here is I would relax this front leg lift. It might not be as high because it doesn't need to be that high. And then I will cause you to not bend on this back leg or sit down on this back leg so early, and allow you to drift or shift your weight down the mound before you engage your back leg and start driving. Because you don't do that is where you're going to see this little hitch where you're slow getting into drive down the mound. And if we would just create some more momentum before that push to make that push happen later, then you would notice that it would be a lot easier for you to maintain the velocity that you're currently at. So this has a domino effect. Because you do this sort of sit down, I want you to watch how you continue to sit down on your back leg, which it's fine to bend your knee and drive, but how low you get is something that's noticeable. If you see how far this knee is going over your foot, that shows from the front angle we have a little bit too much flexion in the back leg. This is too much of a sit down kind of behavior, a quad dominant type of behavior. Makes you get into early collapsing of the back leg technically, where we want to be stable. So think of it more like a deadlift, where we want to be engaged with our glute, and we want to not flex so much on this leg or sit down so much on this leg. We want it to be stable over our foot. So it's going to be bent, but your knee needs to kind of stay over your shoelaces right here. So it's a little less bent than what you're currently doing. With that sit down, you're going to have a problem with this glove arm staying down. So you see how this glove arm side right here is going to just stay pointed down. And as that's happening, you see this hand take over your elbow back here well before you have hit the ground. So this is what I mean about creating more whip with your arm. Basically, we need to delay this arm. It'll actually happen on its own with that weight shift that I was discussing at the beginning of your motion. It'll make it to where you have to brake later and brake faster, so you won't have enough time for this hand to take over so early. But this is where it's a high intense feeling for you to rotate, where other guys at the same velocity or efficient guys aren't going to feel like they're trying as hard. So that hand, that glove arm, stayed down too long. That throwing hand took over too early. And because of that, you're going to get in a position where you're kind of in early external rotation here. So like your landing is technically right here. And you can see that you've already started rotating your shoulders, and your throwing arm has already started to go into layback. That's a frame or two too early. And because of that, you're going to feel like you're pushing the ball, or basically using your shoulders to generate your velocity. And it needs to feel easier than that. It needs to feel whippier than that. So what we'll do is, on top of giving you this better weight shift, we're going to delay this hand taking over your elbow by fixing really what your glove arm is supposed to be doing, which is staying up longer. And that's going to allow you to whip this arm through where you don't have to generate your velo with just your upper half at the end. Now, from here on, you do a great job. The glove arm stays really fixed in front of you. That's what solves the issue of you having the hand up too early, so you can still generate decent velocity, because that, like this picture right here, is great. Head stays relatively quiet. Everything with your finish is fine. I would be curious to see your front leg from the side angle right here because I can't see how early you're bracing, but it seems to be decent. The big glaring things are right here, beginning of the motion, too stiff, sitting down too early. You're squatting instead of driving. You're not using your momentum before you drive, and so therefore you're going to be slow to the plate. And then your hand taking over too early makes it to where you're not going to create as much late whip or layback of the arm. So it feels harder to throw 90 for you. And what we would do is we convert this, and then all of a sudden you throw 90 and you feel like you're barely trying. Hope that makes sense. Watch this in real time. This is where you're going to see what I'm talking about. Now that I've said this, watch how it looks like you bottom out on your drive. Like you're going to sit down and then you're going to drive. You can see like two different moves right before you rotate. It looks like it's a very slow sit, throw. And we want to get rid of that. That's it, man. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or anything, just don't hesitate to reach out. And like I said, we can help you out, even though if you're getting your plow work or individual work over at Koba and you want to meet up for some mechanical work, I'm available for that. So that's it. Good luck.